Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. Woo! Yes, so Starlight is not out in nature, but she's at the library. So, anyway, I love you so much, and I hope you're getting out in nature. Today, they said 90% of rain, so that's why Starlight is in here. I'm getting as much as I can get done in one day. So, I love you so much, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and I want you to feel like family here, and not saying that it's always going to be a picnic, right? This is part about being real, is to getting along, and we're not always going to agree to everything, and that's absolutely okay. But thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Digman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A raccoon and a beaver. Woo! So yes, I love raccoons. So also you can check out my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that's Kathy with a K Digman Starlight. And also, not only that, if you want to send some love to Starlight, you can by doing that on my Cash App. And if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. They have it on your Play Store. You can download that app and check out, you can Google it first, find out about it, and then you can send Starlight love that way. Plus, I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who have helped me to get where I am. I couldn't do this on my own. A lot of people out there, they think they don't need anybody. You got a lot to learn. I'll tell you what, that's a big lesson right there. I used to think that way, but we need each other. So thank you for all of those of you who have been out here loving and supporting Starlight. So yes, now this is actually about car camping. Starlight, what? Where can I park my car for car camping? Great question. Somebody out there asked, where should I park? Well, I already made part one of, the do's and don'ts as far as car camping goes. And, I would have to think, possibly the whole United States is, it's against the law. We have a law here that you're not supposed to car camp. Well, I don't answer to man, I answer to God. God, is it right if I actually live in a car that I paid for? Yes, of course. So yeah, why would there be a law that I can't sleep? I paid for it, right? Yes, it's paid for, Starlight. So you do what you want to do, and this is my way of doing things. Is if God says, Starlight, it's absolutely, it's your car, right? Yeah, it's my car. Yeah, you could stay in your car. I told you I'm the one that put you in this situation anyway. I know. So, I answer to God. You got to decide on your own what you do. But in part one, I actually had a lot going on in there, and this is part two. So if you didn't watch part one, you're going to want to watch part one before you watch part two, because I'm not going to repeat all that in this video. So it's very important that you check that out first before you check this one out, because that's the order that I'm making it. And as I said in the beginning of the last video, part one is number one most important rule that you want to keep as far as car camping is don't tell anyone where you park your car, unless you got some car issues like, whoops, I locked my keys in the car. And so that's why it's so important to always be mindful of knowing where your shit is, not the toilet, that kind of shit. But yes, you got to know where your keys are. That happened to an 80-year-old lady. I bumped into her, and there she was outside her car with a dog. Find out, I thought, oh, she's just out here at the park. And then bam, once I parked, she, I noticed her. I couldn't help but notice her because she was wearing pink and a hat and a dog. And she was locked out of her car. So Starlight helped her to, make the phone call because she didn't have her phone. So those are things that are so vitally, and one of the most important things on this journey is know where your shit is, know where your keys are. So what I do is every time I am in and out of my car, I know where my keys are. I make sure my keys are outside the car as I'm sitting there, put things in, taking things out, even at nighttime. I make sure, okay, where's my keys? I have a habit of what to do with my keys so I don't lose them. You don't want to lose your keys. That's so important. Besides, what was the first rule? Don't tell anyone where you parked the car. I don't care. Don't tell the dog. Don't tell the cat. Don't tell the man. Don't tell that female. Don't, you might not even want to tell, really don't even tell the police officers where, can you always trust them either. So I'll tell you, there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody, there's a lot of people that don't know about. So you do have to protect yourself, and that is by the certain rules you got to go by. And also know where your phone is all the time. Where's my phone? Oh yeah, there. My phone is right here. Silly squirrel. Where's the squirrel? But yeah, silly Starlight, your phone, you're using it right now. Where's my keys? Oh no, where's my keys? I have them right here. Always know where your keys are if you're going to be, no matter what. This is like, don't be that elderly lady out there that locked your keys in her car like how many times already? So you definitely do not want to do that. So the last video, I let you know about the safeties, and how important it is about where to park now. Somebody just mentioned something, and it's kind of funny. I got to bring this up anyway because they did say something about this, and I do want to let you know is, there might be places that you think, hey, this is a good place for me to park, but be cautious because I've gone through stuff long time ago when I was homeless before and I had a vehicle, and it was wintertime in Gloversville, New York, where I used to live long time ago, and there was snow on the ground, and Starlight's like, where am I going to park? Well, you wouldn't believe the first places I came up with to park, and somebody just mentioned this, at the cemetery. I'm like, well, nobody's there. Anyone that's there, they passed away. They're not there, even though people will visit them. But they're not there, right? No, they're not there. But I went into the cemetery. And it was at nighttime, so it was before the snow started falling. And it was kind of funny because here Starlight is in the middle of the cemetery, had my car. I always have my car, and this is another good rule, is make sure your car is always faced where if shit happens, you could drive out of there. You don't want to be like, pulled in this way and you got to back your car up to get out to go this way. No, you always want to kind of back in. That way you could see the entrance, that way if you need, if you don't have the front seat loaded with stuff, you could, like Starlight, you want to talk about move fast? I can freaking move fast. I had to do this before is, my door in the back got locked. So these are a lot of weird things that can happen to you when you're car camping. All kinds of weird things happen to me on car camping and sleeping in the car. Accidentally, my battery died on my car. Or actually, no, it was my starter and it drained the battery. And so all the, after like about 4 or 5 days, everything, after a while, it went from my windows not being able to get rolled up to the doors being locked and to the back door being locked. So like when you get in your car at nighttime, when the battery dies when you're in the car, then you're in the back seat and you're trying to get out and you can't get out because the battery is dead. So I had to crawl up in the front seat, so I'm really quick, so if you're in the back seat, then you're going to have to squeeze up there, and adjust your seat and flatten it down so you can jump in the front seat and be able to get out of the car. I couldn't roll the window down. I couldn't get out. I was like, whoo, I'll tell you, I went through some challenges on this, a lot of lessons that I learned, so those are things that you want to do is anywhere you park, I don't care where you park, don't tell anybody, and always back in, you want it however you got in, you want to have your car facing the way that you want to be able to just get out. If you need to jump in the front seat, lock your doors up and get the frick out of there, get the frick out of there, really, because all kinds of weird things could happen to you when you're out car camping, whether you're male or female, and God tests us, and I pray. When any of these things, I'm like, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Archangel Zavile Flame, please put a shield of protection around me. God, please help me, and I'm like asking, like full blown, like help me out through here. Give me wisdom or knowledge to know what to do right in this situation right now, because I've gone through a lot. So I've had men at different times of the night, people that had evil spirits, unclean spirits, they were out drinking, actually they were walking around town and they went to the bar, over-drinked, and saw my sticker on my car, saw my New York license plate, and something triggered into that person, and some kind of spirit came out and they were pounding on my hood of my car. So yes, that shit has happened. But back to the part with the cemetery. I'm so sorry, I kind of got a little ahead of myself on this. So yeah, at the cemetery when I did this a long time ago, there was snow. When I woke up in the morning, I saw the dog rescue people, the animal rescue people, and they drove through the cemetery because they work with the officers. So you got to watch out. When you see a car and they see you parked, you know what that is a great indicator? Get the blank out of there now. Take it from me. If somebody's seen you in the cemetery or wherever you parked, like in a little, like a secluded area, where nobody's around and creepy places, if somebody's seen you, it's a good indicator that they could call the police officers up to send the cops out to make sure you're safe, or find out why the blank are you out there in the first place in the middle of the night. Because they deal with all kinds of stuff. So the time that I was at a cemetery, I woke up and I peed in the cup, because I had to go pee. And it was kind of funny though. And then I threw it out the window, on the driver's door side, because that's where I would pee in that side and throw it out that way, because my pillow and all that is on this side. And so the dog patrol people came through and saw my vehicle there in the cemetery. Suspicious, right? That's what you got to watch out for. People are gonna, these days it's even worse, these days, because everything is different. But suspicious stuff, people will call up. I've been a person like that. Hey, there's something weird going on out here. I call up the cops out of concern, making sure people are safe. So yes, people are gonna call if they see you out there at a cemetery in the middle of the night. And so if you see somebody and you're like, oh shit, and they didn't bother you, that's a great indicator to, pack up your shit, hurry up, get in the car. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about straightening anything. Get in your car and get the blanket out of there. Because a cop could be coming. And it might not just be one. It could be, how cops are, right? They don't know who you are. They might, hey, let's have 10 cops come here at this, cemetery. So I'm just kidding. But anyway, with that being said, is right when I seen the dog patrol people come through, they did their, a turnaround. They must have noticed me. I don't even know what caused them to go in the cemetery. They might have seen me when I didn't think they saw me. And so they did. They called up the police, because right after that, I knew where the police department was before I know a police officer is coming through and he pulled up, and there I am in the back of the car, freshening up, getting my hair, my face all cleaned, and getting my lotion on, and you know, freshening up for the day, getting dressed. And before I know it, there's an officer parked right in front of my car, you know, and it was kind of funny because there was no footprints around my car because I didn't even get out of the car yet. But he goes to the driver's door, and what does he see? Yellow snow. Where did the yellow snow come from? How did that yellow snow get there? You know, it is kind of funny because that's what police officers do. They investigate, so they're always putting pieces together. So yeah, I was told this is not a good place for you to park because whether you know this or not, there's people that are I've met these people on this journey, and I had to, okay, nice knowing you. There went Starlight. Bye, Starlight. Where did she go? I don't know. She gone. Starlight has done this many times on this journey. I'm a great magician. I see me now, gone. I am gone. I am so gone. So yes, is that you got to watch out because there's some people. Full moons. There's people that will go to the cemetery because they know stuff about the cemetery, and they know that there's all these people that were once here that are their bodies are buried under the ground, so they're into some kind of black magic or witchcraft or some kind of stuff. And I met a guy that was doing this. Is that he went to this one stone and he was doing this in the daytime, but you got to think that he's probably doing that out in the nighttime. There are people that will go to a cemetery because that's part of a ritual that they do. So it can bring out some funky people out there, and I don't know, what to think about that kind of stuff. It's not what Starlight's into. Hang on. So, the other safety tip here is, especially if you're a female, is because this happened to me just like about a week ago, is like if you got people around your vehicle, and I had like a lot of going on that night. I had, I don't know, 2 or 3 people, men, in the beginning, in the middle of the night, and then later on another 2 or 3 people, men, on the other side of my vehicle, all in one night. And a prostitute that was out there selling herself, and got dropped off right on the same area that I was. So that was not a really good spot to park. But I made it through that night, amazingly. I had like a guardian angel out there protecting my ass for a little bit of the night. So you gotta be careful out there because now that night there is I did pray. I pray all the time. I pray before I go to bed, about my protection. But you don't, as a female, there's times that it worked, but I was in the middle of town, there's other, where I've yelled out at people and I said, hey, I'm calling the cops. And then I act like I'm on my phone and like, yes, officer, yes, I'm out here and I'm car camping and somebody's outside my car. So I did that, You've got to be an actor and actresses. And some of you might be laughing like, holy shit, yeah. So I'm teaching you some stuff I had to create. I'm a great, I can be quick at thinking about stuff. So that was one thing that happened, and the officers did come. I said, hey, I'm out here, I'm by myself, and I didn't even make a phone call. That guy actually stayed around. He stayed around. And then it got to the point that I really had to make that phone call. And, of course, how long does it take for the police officer to come? They're like, well, we're kind of busy right now. What? Okay. So, there's things that you can do. Like I've done things like turn my lights on, start the car up, whatever you got to do, and that was on the country road. There was people that, there's not a lot of people around, not a lot of houses. There was a house that was ahead of me on the right-hand side. The last resorts would be honk that blink horn. I've actually, that was that night there is where this man just kept on like walking around. He actually asked me, hey, can I get in your car? You think I'm just going to open up my car and let you just come in my car? So you never know with the blank. when people are out there in the middle of the night, you don't know what the heck they are on, if they're on any drugs, or if they got some kind of mental problem, maybe they got some kind of, they could have some disability stuff, they could have spirits in them, they could be drunk, so you don't know who you're dealing with when it comes to at nighttime for parking your car. And so then another time that where I was is, like I was saying, there was a man that got wasted one night, and I was in the middle of a parking lot where there was a security guy that every night that he walked around, or a girl, and they would walk around and do their whole rounds, and then they would go and I think sleep for a while, then get back up and just go and do that again. I don't know how many times throughout the day, the nighttime. So I felt really safe in this area. And I didn't know, though, because I didn't know my way around, there was a bar not too far away. And so this, an older man and a young guy, this guy was drunk. He had some kind of spirit in him, and he saw my sticker on my car. He was having a big, huge issue looking at my New York State plates. Most people think because I come from New York, they think, ooh, red flag, she's from New York City. No, I am not from New York City. Just because I have a New York license plates on my car, it doesn't mean that I came. There's, how many other places in New York I could live? Please. I never lived in New York City. I visited it once and that was enough. We did that, done that, took that off the list, the bucket list. So this night here, and it was crazy because he was with a young guy, which that guy wasn't drunk. But this young guy was hanging out with this older man that was wasted. And so the guy was freaking out because of my license plate, and then he started banging on my freaking hood of my car. And I'm half naked in my underwear only. Yeah, so I'm more than half naked in the back of my car because it's hot out. I actually had the windows open in that area until, that man started banging on my hood. Then I had to hurry up and roll up those windows, and the door was locked, but really, does it really matter? But yeah, it does matter. So you do want the windows, the door is locked. Even if the windows, you had to have the windows open. I can't use my AC in my car because if I did, it would break something else in my car, which I don't want that to happen. So you have to understand, that's why I have a fan in my car. So if it's too hot, but in the summertime, the fan is not enough. You need more air. And that is definitely, no matter what kind of light blanket, you definitely need the windows open if you don't have any AC in your car. But in this case with this man here, I knew that the security guard was somewhere, maybe in bed, maybe he was doing his rounds. So, and the young guy wasn't really even being a help to him at all as far as getting him away from my car. And so he was beating on my hood of my car. So what was I going to do then? I freaking honked the horn like freaking crazy. Honk, honk, honk. Bam. That freaking, I don't even know where that security guard was. He was like right there. I'm like, and that security guard, he was like right on that man. He was like, they knew I was sleeping in the, some of those security guards seen my vehicle there every night, New York States, they had to go past that all the time through the night. They seen me there. They seen I wasn't doing anything wrong. And that's why it's so important. Don't screw it up when you are. Don't litter. Don't party. I eat in my car at times when I have to, but don't make a mess. Don't make it, clean, keep things picked up. Don't, like I have curtains in my windows, so that nobody can see in my windows. But, you don't want to have loud music. Don't want to be smoking marijuana in your car. Don't want to be drinking alcohol and getting wasted. And, you're going to have a whole lot of problems when you do those things. But when I blew that horn, man, that security guard was right there. And it took a while for that officer, that security guard, to get this man away from my car because he was trying to do things in the right way. Because, when you're dealing with somebody drunk, and this guy walked away, came back with a piece of paper and a pen and wrote down my license plate number down on his, he had something out with some kind of spirit was saying something. And this happens when people get drunk and wasted. If you're a light worker of light, they will attack you. These dark forces out there. There's something like an alien force that zips into them people, and they will freaking attack you because you're a light. You're a light. You're a God. You go against everything that they are. So you might think I'm crazy when I say that, but that is my own belief because I've experienced stuff in the past with aliens. So that don't look like aliens, or they look like human beings. But so there's different things that you're always going to have to think about. Sometimes you gotta, the last resort is to blow the blank out of that horn. Other times you might have to call an officer to rescue you out of that situation to keep yourself safe, and there's going to be other times that these things happen, and don't take it an offense that God actually, there's times that you might park in a place that you thought was safe. It looked like, hey, this looks like a safe neighborhood. Yeah, I think I'll park my car here. And this has happened to me more than once, is that somebody could drive by and you might take it the wrong way, because that's what happened to me, is somebody's like, hey, you can't park there. So you might have people like that will come along and tell you that, you can't park here. You got to move your car. And you're like, you're not no officer. Who are you to tell me what to do, right? So the only thing on that, you know what? Listen to the person. God has ways of protecting you. You prayed before you went to sleep, like I did, right? I hope. Well, God is sending a message for you. Get the blanket out of there. Listen. Because that's happened to me. I'm like, okay. And then, I didn't feel, my intuition didn't feel it when I parked in that spot. Something didn't feel right. I felt kind of off. And so then, I just got everything all situated. I was in the back of the car. And before I know it, a guy drives by, slows down, and goes, you can't park your car there. Instead of getting upset and mad, who the blank you think you are, tell me I can't park the car here, just get and go. Just take it as God is sending them as a messenger to help you out, to let you know it's not a good place to park. So these are other things that I wanted to share that I didn't share. And believe me, I got so much more to tell you about car camping that will really help you out, because I know some of you are interested in doing that. So you got it. Safety's first. Don't tell anybody where you're parking the car. Know where your keys are at all times. Know where your phone is at all times. So there's other things that I can talk about on other, all kinds of stuff can happen to you. You just never know what's going to happen. And so I will make I'm going to start making more videos on this, because I really believe it's going to be really needed for a lot of people out there that are going through these things in life. So I love you so much. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family or friends, a cat, a dog. You can also check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that's Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. Safety first. Don't tell anyone where you are. Be careful. You can't trust anyone. Just take it that way. You can't trust anyone. Only tell somebody if you really have something wrong with your car and you need help to get it, fixed or whatever. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.